Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any of our platforms. Please reach out to me directly. I am tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing. Today, we're discussing an extraordinary 2022 limited edition of 25 pieces in grade 5 titanium. This is the Bethune DB28XP steel wheels. The original DB28 steel wheels came out in 2018. This is part of the XP series in that it is far thinner than those originals. The watch is 43 millimeters in diameter by only 9.9 millimeters thick as I measure it. It has two different lug-to-lug dimensions because of the patented spring-loaded floating lugs. So at full extension, they're 55 millimeters across the wrist, fully compressed 51 millimeters across the wrist with a 26 millimeter spacing between the lugs. On my wrist, you can see the watch sits nicely. Bethune watches are always a great fit, almost regardless of the size. With the floating lugs, the lugs adjust to the width of your wrist and the contour of your arm. You can see how low it is. It'll easily fit underneath the cuff. And then the watch is broad, but not too much so. This angle always over-exaggerates the width of a watch. Let's take a look down the barrel. All of this is going to be individual because the watch will conform to you, but you can see that those lugs are not out over the edge of my wrist. Getting there, but not quite. I'd recommend this watch for a wrist as small as 15 centimeters circumference on these lugs, but rest assured a smaller set of lugs can be ordered from Bethune. Again, profile shot, over the top, and a distance shot. The strap, a lovely piece, Bethune factory. So while the watch does have a 26 millimeter lug spacing, the strap is actually quite a bit broader than that to conform to the taper of the lug profile. So yes, you can get a strap that'll fit if it's 26 millimeters, but if you want a perfect fit, go custom or stick with factory. A lovely sort of saturated ultramarine blue. You can see striations and a well up top to differentiate the material. It's not a big sheer expanse. The texturing and the different depth effects really help on that front. On the bottom, you can see evacuation of material to make the strap more pliant and flexible. And then we have a pin buckle. This is not actually a Bethune pin buckle, but rest assured it will be delivered with one. This watch recently came back from a tour, and thus it was probably swapped over to this strap. Rest assured that is not the pin buckle. Taking a look at the case, the watch is beautifully decorated with microlight engraving. This is done reductively on a lathe. Bethune realized that traditional guilloche didn't suit most of its avant-garde watches, so the microlight fine grooves were born. If you look at the edge of the lugs, you can see the little ogival or bullet tips that represent the last surviving vestige of the original DB1 chronograph design, the first watch the company launched back in 2002. Those are the bullet tips or the ogival tips. While the lugs are articulated, they're also hollow. You can see they have an airy, prismatic feel, gossamer, graceful. Taking a look at the mid-case, you can see that the screws that are used are crafted with security in mind so that an amateur watchmaker cannot start removing case components and tearing down this watch. We also have a crown. It is a screw-down crown for security against interference with the lug. The watch is 30 meters water resistant. You can see there's double knurling, two different types of knurling on that crown. The watch is grade 5 titanium, which has a couple of advantages. First, like grade 2, it's hypoallergenic and lighter than steel. Unlike grade 2, it can be polished, and it is significantly harder than most standard watchmaking steel, so it's also less scratch prone. This is a pre-owned watch, so I want to emphasize it does have some marks on it, but from even a few inches away, it's not something that's salient. The dial sits underneath a domed and cambered sapphire that actually arcs from the middle down to the edges at 6 and 12. We have steel caps here for the base plate, black polished. Normally, when we talk about black polished components, we're talking about a very small part of a movement, like a screw head or a regulator. Here, you can see we have these extraordinary black polished bridge for the hands, black polished bridge for the balance, black polished cap for the base plate, all of it finished up with diamond paste. The track outboard of the hour orbs, and we will call them orbs, that's also black polished. Now these are little fired blue titanium spheres. Bethune has a process for fire bluing titanium that is proprietary, and you can see that these are three-dimensional. They're not cabochon, they are full spheres all the way around. The dial includes a dropped track for reading the minutes. You can see little drilled minute indices. The The hands are blued titanium and skeletonized. There is the deltoid barrel bridge, which Denis Flageolet, the watchmaking head of de Bethune, describes as a symbol of upward advancement, always upward. He's always refining his designs to new heights. Now we have 1, 2, 3 shock protection springs on the balance that is called triple parachute shock protection. It has 2 functions. 1, avoid fracturing the balance staff pivots, so durability. 2, more rapidly recenter the balance staff pivots in their cup jewels. That's actually for timekeeping and precision. We have 2 barrels, open, steel wheels. They are the titular steel wheels in the name of the watch. 2 mainspring barrels. You cannot accidentally overwind this watch. 1 mainspring will slip, preventing damage. Wind it fully, it has 6 days of power reserve. Turn it all over. You can see individual numbering out of 25 and the underlying mechanism that gives you a power reserve indicator. So we have both the lever, there's a rack and a pinion, and then we've got the scale next to it. You can see that a combination of media blast and satination has been used on the reverse here with polished screw heads and pins. And then there's a lovely spring in handsome pocket watch style swan's neck form. Taking a quick look at the dial side, you'll note that the balance is also fired blue titanium. The idea is to put as much of the mass of the balance in the rim as possible, which is why you can see the balance is made of a light material and the rim contains little white gold cylinders, so those are the masses. It also has very minimal susceptibility to running fast or slow as temperatures fluctuate. It is thermally inert. It has a low thermal coefficient. That is a patented balance, patent 2016. This watch is protected by at least 7 distinct patents. We also have a hairspring, 2 different pieces shaped by hand and clamped together to give the thinness of a flat hairspring with the concentric breathing in any position that you get with an overcoil. Finally, de Bethune employs a silicon escape wheel of its own design to minimize friction and improve the consistency of performance in between servicings. The deltoid bridge features the same microlight engraving that you saw in the case. This is also reductively performed with a lathe. You can see on the edge there's a media blast as well as a polished bevel, and all screw heads are black polished with satination on the ratchet wheels and the barrels themselves. A beautifully decorated watch that is chock-a-block with independent thinking, and de Bethune only making between 200 and 300 watches a year, extremely rare and extremely exclusive. This will be one of only 25 of its type. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.